As always, I'm your host. Football. Make sure you guys go to the website, NewOrleans.Football /subscribe and pick a tier. We're here to talk about some football because football things are still happening. Nick, what's up, man? Say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people?
People, what's up? Hey, man, look, we appreciate the folks, man. We appreciate the folks. So let's get into it. Saints news. Saints have hired a new secondary coach to replace Aaron Glenn, and it is Kris Richard. So, Nick, why don't you give everyone a quick summary of who this man is, what his credentials are, and why this is a big hire?
Well, first of all, for him, quality of life wise, like he's going to a place where they'll say his name the right way. So number one, that's a good thing. Like it's like the Herbert Bear thing. So that works out well for him. But look, I think this is a huge hire for them. And if you have to lose Aaron Glenn, I don't think that this is the worst outcome. I think this is probably the best of that situation. And he's kind of the architect behind the Legion of Boom to some degree, him and Pete Carroll. He's developed a lot of players drafted in lower rounds. Richard Sherman was a later pick. Cam Chancellor was a later pick. Right. He made people believe Byron Maxwell was a good cornerback. He got Brandon Browner paid. So he's done a lot of things that have have really solidified his credentials. And as a play caller, I don't know if things worked out perfectly for him in Dallas. I think he kind of got a bad deal there. But look, that's not going to be his thing. He's not going to be in charge of that. Dennis Allen has all that covered really, really well. And, just as someone who's able to develop players, I think it's an exciting prospect that you're going to get this guy that's this talented in that role.
Yeah. It's a pretty good hire. I mean, I think you can make a case that, I think he had a pretty successful stint as a defensive coordinator in Dallas. I'm not Dallas, in Seattle.
It started out good. And he started out like top 3. And then I think by like the end of it, he was like 13th. But yeah, they were good, but he got let go for, I think. But I also think they lost a lot of talent really quickly.
Oh, yeah. Seattle went from being like this defensive minded team to like these guys who are like, what is it? Let Russ cook was like the model this year. So yeah, they were like number 1, then 3rd this next year, and then number 13th. Which, look, I remember there's been time. I think if Drew Brees always had the 13th ranked defense, he probably had more Super Bowls. So but yeah, I think you can make the case that he kind of maybe be at he's his best accomplishment of his career is when he was a secondary coach. Right, when he had all of that talent that you just mentioned. Another guy that he was there the rookie year for was Shaquille Griffin, who's turned into a pretty solid NFL corner too. And I think I don't remember when he was drafted, but I don't think he was drafted high. So, I think it does say something. Like, I don't think this one team is like just good at finding late round guys to play corner at a really high level. I think, there's a lot that goes into it, like the scheme they're asked to play, the coaching that's happening with those guys and whatnot. So I think there is something to that hire and, to what he was able to bring to the defensive back room when he was in Seattle. So it's a big name. Obviously, people know the guy, his name recognition there. But I think when you peel the skin back a little bit, that's a bad acronym, but, you can see some of his accomplishments. So,
yeah, look, and the other thing too here, and I think Aaron Glenn's really good at his job. There's a reason he has a job being a defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. But the most talented player in the secondary, I think, is I don't want to say he's hard to coach, but Marshawn is definitely an inconsistent player. And just having a new voice in that room, I think it'll be interesting to see if somebody else with a different approach to coaching can possibly get him to be his best every single week. And if you can get him to do that, that would be like the biggest acquisition of the offseason. If Marshawn is playing like he's against Mike Evans every single week, that's an incredible outcome. And, I think that's kind of the task at hand here. I think that's kind of your number one charge coming into that job. Like hey, can you do this? Can you figure it out?
Right.
He's going to, I don't know. I wouldn't ever blame AG for that. It's
Yeah,
definitely not his fault, but can somebody else get a different result? That's the question. Like AG went hard on him. Like you would hear AG all over him at practices. I
yeah.
remember one day that there was a practice, like Marshawn said something like AG, like started hitting him with like cry hand. Like he went hard at him, like really hard. And it just, look, Marshawn talked about it himself. He knew it was a problem and just it never got corrected.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just how it is. But it will be interesting to see if this other guy who's a very decorated coach, a lot of credentials, can come in here and get a different result.
Yeah, no, I get it. And someone doesn't have to be wrong for someone else to be right.
Right.
So I mean, I think, sometimes it's just a different
chemistry.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just certain people make you have they kind of bring out different behavior in people. Like say, you and me doing this pod, I'm like a little loose, I know you, I'll yell at you, whatever. Sean coming here, I'm probably gonna be a little bit early. Got my little button up, shirt button up, sitting up straight with my eyes looked up. I'm gonna be on a little bit better behavior until he, tells me to chill out a little bit. So, in all seriousness, I do think there is something to, hey, look, this guy's new, I need to be able to come in and, he needs to know who I am and what I can do and what my skill set is. And so I do think having a new guy in there, it can potentially maybe bring a different attitude from that player, because yeah, it is an issue, man. It is an issue. If he it's hard to know who he is. Is he the gosh, I'm stealing a quote from an article you wrote this week. Is he he's a good player who's occasionally great, or is he a great player who's inconsistent? And there's something along those lines. It was a great line in the article. You guys go to the site, check it out.
That's what I do.
See, see, if Sean was in here, I'd have been like, "Yes, sir, that's what you do." No, that is what you do, Nick. That is why everyone is here to listen to you. but yeah, so it will be interesting to see, what comes out of that player, and so I'm interested in it. It's a big hire. So, and to lose someone like AG and bring someone in like that, I think that says a lot about where they see themselves. They're like, man, we're still competing. We're still in here. This is, ain't nothing changed around here. So yeah, it's a big hire, and
they've done an incredible job just assembling talent after talent after talent.
Yeah, man.
So some of their scouts, some of those guys were in much bigger jobs, and they got them as area scouts. So I think that's one of the good results with the drafting is that they have guys that are extremely qualified for their jobs, and I think you see it on the coaching staff too. And there's a good mix of upcoming talent, but their upcoming talent, Ryan Nielsen, he's in Green Bay interviewing right now, or video interviewing, however they're doing it. So there's even the young guys coming in are proving themselves, but Mike Nolan is an example of that. Jeff Ireland's a guy that was in a bigger job, and they caught him and got him in the staff in a role. Richard, look, I mean, he sat out last year because he didn't want to coach a position group, and now they got him coaching a position group. So yeah. So I think that's kind of that obviously has been a huge change. The coaching staff got really stale, and then it went from one end to like super high end very, very quickly.
Crazy, man.
Sean recruits there extremely well, and people want to be a part of that staff. And I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, it's something. I was thinking that today. I was like, what is he telling these coaches? It's like, what I mean, like you said, Mike Nolan, Jeff Allen, these guys have been at the top of what they do, right? At the very highest level. I mean, Mike Nolan was a head coach and a defensive coordinator, and then you get him to coach the linebackers. And Kris Richard, I'm pretty sure this guy has head coach aspirations, and he was a head coach, the defensive coordinator, excuse me, for 3 seasons in Seattle, and I think it was 1 in Dallas. So yeah,
but I'm pretty sure John Sandusky was like a director of personnel, and now he's an area scout. Like they've done a really good job of getting guys in here, and they have a few of those. One of them left a couple of years ago too, but like it's a lot of guys that are like extremely qualified for the positions they have. And I think spending money on the staff is one way to kind of like, for for lack of a better term, to like Moneyball situation where you can kind of build an advantage by really investing in your staff and getting the best people. And if you can afford to pay them, and that's another area where Gail Benson is a good owner. She invests in the team. She gives them the resources, and I think that's probably, look, I'm speculating. I don't know what these guys are getting paid, but I'm guessing that there's probably some monetary incentive that would take a guy that doesn't want to coach a position group to come and coach a position group. And I think goes to show how well run this team is, and that's a credit to her.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, whatever they're doing, they're working, man. It's where it's working. I mean, Dan Campbell, they got him to come and coach tight ends, right? That's another guy. So
they got DA was another one they got on the,
Yeah, exactly. He brought him back, and he was,
secondary coach.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. When Greg Williams was here. So yeah, man, they got this thing figured out, and I think
he was secondary, like behind Rob Ryan, and then
exactly. Yeah, because he came in when Rob Ryan
got fired. Yeah.
Yep. Which everyone saw that and was like, "Oh, that's the next defensive coordinator for the Saints."
Well, it's funny now because there's a few of them though. Like if they stick around, like Nielsen is a natural DC candidate. Richard's a natural DC candidate. There's a handful of guys that could very easily do it. Michael Hodges, I think, is on a fast track to bigger and better things.
He feels like one of those guys, man. Him and Nielsen feel like guys who you don't think is going to be here long. You can kind of get that feel for some guys, but I mean, I think there's something to be said, right? I mean, Mike Nolan. I mean, I think coaches come here, and I think the proof is kind of in the pudding, right? You see that DA is here. His stock has been raised since he came here as a defensive coordinator, and he's a head coaching candidate. He's had interviews. Lombardi's a coach here. He's on his second offensive coordinator job. Dan Campbell is a head coach. Mike Nolan went to become a defensive coordinator. Aaron Glenn went to become a defensive coordinator. So Ryan Nielsen is a hot name. So I think these guys come and see. I mean, the guys who come here and coach, their profile is being lifted as a result of being here. And I think, man, if you see it working, then it can, why not follow suit, right? So that just seems to be the case here. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, those guys see that. So it's good for the Saints, right? It's a good hire because they're losing, they're hemorrhaging talent. They could potentially lose their secondary coach and their defensive line coach in 1 year, and they lost their linebackers coach last year. So you got to keep replenishing it. You got to keep filling the well up, or it's going to run dry. So I think this is a pretty good way to go about that. So we'll see what type of impact he has, and again, that's a big hire. So we got a trivia question here, Nick.
All right, so my guy Drew, he bought an elite plan for us to give away during the show. Trivia questions on the screen. If you're listening to this on the podcast later, sorry, but this is why you got to tune in. So you got first person to answer this in the chat wins the elite plan. We'll get you the code after the show's over. But the question is, name the 3 undrafted players with the most TD catches from Breeze. There's 3 of them that you got to name. You got to name all 3 of them correctly and get them on there. And the other thing that I'm going to do while you're listening to this, if anybody buys an annual plan before the show ends, we'll upgrade it to elite. So get in there, sign up, NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Anyone who buys an annual plan before the show's over, they get an upgrade to the elite. We do private Zoom chats, kind of talk about some stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, just a little bit more access. So if you sign up, do that. We'll upgrade you. And then again, first person to answer this, name the 3 undrafted players with the most TD catches from Breeze.
Oh, we got an answer in there. Close. Yeah, no comment. No comment. We don't want to like.
That is not correct, but we'll keep watching. We'll keep watching it. We'll keep talking it, and we'll keep an eye out for the right answer.
Yeah. I'll give you guys. I got 2 of the 3 right. So I felt like I was like a pretty decent fan for having.
The third one's a surprise. The third one is a surprise.
It is. The third one was a little bit of surprise. And while we're at it, man, I got to take a second to tell you guys to go to the website and check things out. This week, I want to say I lost count. There's either 5 or 6 articles that went out this week. There was a roster assessment for offense, one for defense, one with talking about Mickey Loomis and how they plan to go forward with this team. One talking about how to handle Marshawn Lattimore going forward. One with talking about what the Matt Stafford trade meant for Jameis. Then the Kris Richard one just went up. That's 6. I might be forgetting one. There's 5, 6. There's like 6 articles that went up this week. So make sure you guys check it out. And I'm looking at the answers here.
No one's got it yet.
Yeah, I think someone had the same thought process that I did. I won't say who it is, but someone had the same guess that I did, which is a logical guess, right? But again, you guys, there's a lot of content at the site. Again, like we said, no off season here. 6 articles a week. Come on, that's like one a day. You're not getting that nowhere else when there's like multiple people working on the site. So just saying, go check it out.
All right. So Matthew Stafford's gone off the market. I mean, I know it's hard for you because you're a noted Jameis Winston hater. You're just noted.
Can I?
You're extremely like. I don't know if we can even have this conversation because you are so anti Jameis Winston that I don't know. I don't know, man.
Hey, what's up? What's up with the caption? Hey, look. Okay, all right. So let's address this. All right, and Nick, if someone.
Hey, Jeremiah got it.
Jeremiah got it. Yeah, Jeremiah got it.
Sure. Hey, send me a DM. My DMs are open. Send me a DM, and I'll get you the code Nick_Underhill. And we'll get you hooked up on that elite plan. Again, anybody that signs up for the annual or monthly, I'll upgrade you the elite monthly or the elite annual. Just sign up for the site, NewOrleans.Football/subscribe. Either one of those plans until the show ends, you'll get an upgrade. All the support helps, even if you're just a podcast listener, your support of the podcast helps us do more podcasting. We have plans to do additional shows if we get additional support. So, all the love's been real, but get all the analysis, help us out, help us do more. So even if you're just watching, the support of the site helps the podcast. But yeah, back to you being a noted anti-Jameis Winston. I heard all week people were so mad at you. I got so many DMs, so many tweets. And they're like, what's up with Kevin? Even the comments on the last video, there were a lot of people that were extremely angry with you for your, I thought, kind of reasonable Jameis.
I thought my take. I wish I was.
Yeah, I don't know. But look, I mean,
can you put up the gladiator?
I kind of feel like there's some bias here.
Can you put up the gladiator gear for your man was just taking on everybody at one time? Because that's what it feels like. Like I thought I was gonna get run out of Saints. All right, so. Jameis Hive, what's up? I'm here to make peace. Here's my take on Jameis. We don't really know exactly what he is at the moment, right? We don't know. Like the last time we saw him, he was throwing a lot of interceptions and fumbling the ball. Now, that's all the information. That's all we can go. And then you have his tape from the previous, I think he was a Buck for 5 years. So the guy was a free agent and he got a $1 million contract to be a backup for New Orleans. It's behind Drew Brees, and I'm pretty sure that he could have made some money elsewhere, but it wouldn't have been a starter role. Okay. So I said all of that. I mean, my take was based on that information. Right. I'm not at practices. We don't know what Jameis, he might be like the best quarterback in the NFL next year. If he is, then I'll be the one saying, all right, he's the best quarterback. But based on recent information, that's all I had to go off of. So I actually wish the guy well, because that means the Saints were going to play well. And I do root for the Saints, and it would be good for me if he is the best quarterback in NFL. Right. But my point was, we know what Stafford is at the moment. We know, and based on the compensation, like teams are willing to give up the number 8 pick plus more for this guy, right? He got 2 firsts and a third. So the whole conversation was based around like Stafford versus Jameis, not like negative Jameis, right? So, hey, man, it's all love. It was
a little negative Jameis.
I mean, just because the man got fumbling and interception problems, I wasn't like trying to like make. I mean, here's the only thing I'll say about Jameis that may be a little negative. I think he's just a little goofy. And I say it jokingly, like he's very goofy, man. He's like the goofiest NFL player I've ever seen, the eating L's and, all that other stuff. But other than that, man, he's smart player, big arm, all the talent in the world. I think if I had to pick between him and 7, like I would pick him. just putting it out there. I'm just putting myself out there. If I could have picked between him and Stafford, I'd have picked Stafford. But the Saints felt like maybe that was too much compensation, or that's not the player that they targeted. So, we wish Jameis the best around here. I'm a Jameis fan. I was excited when they signed him. Nick has told me some stuff in private that, I'm like, hey man, that's pretty good to hear. Blah blah blah. I won't get into it, but yeah, we wish Jameis the best, man. We Jameis fans around here. We're pro Jameis because if he does good, then the Saints do good. So, am I good with you guys? Can you guys is it love? Is it love? Nick, was that enough? I don't want next week. I don't want your DMs going crazy over my Jameis take. I like Jameis. Quote that right there. Tweet that out. That's it, man.
I mean, I think it's notable that they didn't even make an effort to get Stafford. There was really no interest there to speak of. Nobody reported anything. Nothing I heard indicated that they were in on that. So, I mean, I think that speaks well to. It's weird because we talk about Jameis like they have him. They don't have Jameis. Like Jameis ain't on the team right now. So they talk about him like he's on the team. So I mean that seems to mean something.
You think that's by choice or is it by circumstance?
What do you mean?
The reason why they didn't make a play for Stafford.
Like how so? Like they couldn't?
Like you think they didn't want him, or they just were not in a position to make that type of move?
I think they're in position to make that type of move. They could have definitely made it. You can make a move to
get who you want. Yeah.
Or you can still at least be in there. Like the Colts were in there with a late first round pick. Like you could still be in there, and then somebody outbids you. But it just doesn't sound like they were in there. So yeah. I mean, and they could have afforded them. Like you can manipulate that number very easily, lower it, and fit them onto your team. We've talked about that before.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it just seems like they in that comparison of the players. I think that if I don't think there was a wide enough gap through their eye that it was worth the draft compensation to get Stafford, which is interesting because I feel like the Rams kind of made a move to change from the 17th best quarterback to the 10th, 11th, or 12th best quarterback, and McVay will elevate him above what he actually is.
Yeah, I think that's a big point.
And Goff might drop from 17 to 21 or something in a different system. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But look, I think I think as we say all the time, you can't lie with your moves. Their moves here told us that they didn't see a considerable difference. And for us looking at it on the outside, we're talking about one thing we see and one thing we don't see. And that's the thing. I'll continue to say this every single time we talk about him or we talk about somebody instead of him. We don't see it. And yeah, we can assume that the Bruce Arians season was a weird outlier. It probably was. We're going to say it probably was because there was never 30 interceptions in other seasons, but that season happened and we got to see the comeback from it. We got to see the effect on him. If there's any lingering confidence issues, all that stuff, which again, I doubt it. I bet he can kind of step away from that, be more controlled, and reach his pinnacle, whatever that may be. But we haven't seen it, so we have to trust that Sean Payton, Mickey Loomis, Jeff Ireland, whoever else is making these evaluations.
Joe Lombardi.
Well, Joe's gone now, but
I know that's what I was being funny.
But I mean, look, we got to trust that what they're doing is reasonable. It seems like that's all we can do. That's all we can do is look at their moves and read their moves. On this one, it seems if this is a vote of confidence for somebody, and I tend to think it's a vote of confidence for Jameis and not necessarily Taysom, but it's a vote of confidence for somebody that they're going to have access to next year.
Yeah,
that they didn't feel the need to go crazy for this particular quarterback. And shout out to, let me see, we got two sales. They're getting upgraded. Shout out to Derek and shout out to Ben for the first two that are in. Keep them coming.
Thanks, guys. So I agree with your take. I think, and I'm kind of to the point. I didn't know what to say. I was just
the nicest thanks guys ever. It was really appreciative.
I'm a good person, man. Believe it or not.
You are. You
don't get to see that side of me because I'm not always that nice to you.
Except for when you're hating on Jameis.
Hey man, look, only Jameis brings out the nice me in you.
You're putting pressure on Jameis like you're putting pressure on those shirt sleeves right now.
Hey man, you sent me an extra large shirt. That's funny, man. What was I? You got me like, all right. But here's the deal, right? I think every time we speak about Jameis, I think I should just preface it with saying based on the very limited information we have, right? And I think that's the good point that you're making. It's like, oh, I thought you were about to put a sleeve thing on that, but yeah, it's just based on the information that we have. And so, what is he? I think you make a really good point. Like the Saints were not even rumored to like, now maybe him and Dan Campbell had a conversation and they wanted, I don't know, whatever, but they were not even like one of the teams that was mentioned. Like I think you saw the Broncos mentioned. Carolina made a hard push. Like you said, Indianapolis was one of those teams. I think San Francisco may have inquired, so if you're Teddy Bridgewater or Jimmy Garoppolo, they just told you a lot about how they feel about you, right? And it's that, you're replaceable and we're looking to replace you as soon as the time or the opportunity presents itself, and they could have done the same thing. And, I guess Jameis could feel or not feel a certain way about it, but yeah, they weren't even in the running like for him. Now, maybe they just didn't like Stafford. Maybe they thought Jameis was better than Stafford. Maybe for whatever reason, right? They just chose not to pursue him. And I think that does, it says a little bit. I don't know how much it says, but it was a potentially good quarterback on the market, and they didn't make a run at him. I think, and McVay said, look, I'm not trying to win a trade. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl. And I actually don't blame them. Listen, when I saw the Rams compensation, listen, I tweeted out, my goodness, because I was like, whoa, 2 firsts, a third, Goff, whatever. I think they had to give up the extra pick to get rid of Goff. I think maybe the third was like here for taking Goff, right?
They're saying they want him, but like we'll see if he even plays like he might be their guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if he never played there. I don't know enough about the situation, but like
I think they can flip that guy. Detroit picks 4. Is it?
I thought it was like 6.
I can look up their draft spot. They pick pretty high, but like, I mean,
yeah, it's definitely high.
Apparently, some people want Goff. I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe some people do. So if you're Detroit, you got the cap room. You can just trade for him, and then if you move him for a second or a third, trade it for some cap room, you're in rebuild mode, right? So I mean, I think that's a smart move. If you got the cap to spare and you want to use it to acquire some assets, it's kind of, you can't do it directly. I think the Saints tried that with just Davian Clowney or something along those lines with the Browns. But yeah, I think it's something. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they do that. But like I said, when I saw the trade and the compensation, I was like a little taken back because I was like, okay, I thought a first plus something else, but not a first, another first plus something else. That seemed like a lot plus something else. It was like 2 extra things. But listen, man, if that's who you feel like is your guy quarterback and you feel like, he can get you to the next level, it's no such thing as overpaying for a quarterback. If you think the guy's your quarterback, I just, and you always say it, like you're always in the business for a quarterback, right? You're never, hey, we got our guy, and you should always be looking at that position. So,
I took so much crap for like 5 years. Every year I'd write, they should draft a quarterback. You got to draft a quarterback. You got to draft a quarterback. And every year, like, not everybody, but there was always like there was always a polarizing. And I wrote the same column like every year for 5 years. And it was always polarizing people. No, you got to get people for Drew right away. This is why, though.
Yeah,
this is why. And it might work out for them, and they might have, been able to skirt it. But like, I don't know, taking a quarterback instead of anybody really over, except for Lattimore and Ramczyk over the last several years, would have been a good move right now. It would have been paying off. But like, that's why you go after them, and it's just never a bad pick. And even if they think Jameis is a guy, like if you have an opportunity to draft a quarterback this year, I think you got to do it. I think you got to unless you're fully convinced this is the guy, you always have to look at him. And that was basically what we were saying about Stafford last week. It was no hate, and it was just if there is an option, you have to take that option. That's
exactly
such a vitally important position. But look, if they have that confidence, it's not a bad move for them. Shout out to Michael McFarland too, signed up. We appreciate you. I saw this one here, right? The question: can't afford Drew's dead money, Taysom's contract, and another high cost quarterback. I think you can actually, because they can clear $20 million in space. They're going to rework Drew's contract. I would almost guarantee. Then he's going to officially retire on June 2nd. I think that's when that'll be officially filed at that point. I do wonder if he can make the announcement and if they can wait to put it through. They got him on the Jameis deal last year. Jameis, it got reported, there were hints, and if the hints would have just stayed at hints, it would have been fine. But someone else reported it fully being done, and it ended up counting against the comp pick criteria. So I wonder if Drew will wait until after. I don't know. Like maybe you can get away with it. But anyhow, Drew's retirement will become official. And I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing. It seems logical on June 2nd. They'll clear 20-some million in cap space by doing that. You got to split the payment, but it is what it is. It helps this year. So that's going to come off. Taysom's contract is on there. If they got another high-cost quarterback, my guess is that you would probably allow Taysom to leave and pursue the opportunity to be a starter somewhere else. He bided his time. He waited. He came back. There's been assurances. If those assurances don't come to fruition and he badly wants that opportunity, I think the humane thing to do would be to, wish him well and let him go off and try to find somewhere he can compete for that. You get $4 million back there. Yeah. Your high-cost quarterback, you can manipulate that contract so many different ways. And this is one of the things, like, every time I read one of these articles by somebody who doesn't watch the Saints closely every year, it's like they go through it and they're like, this is how they can do the cap. This is how they can manage it. This move, this move, this move. And it's always like standard restructure, cutting people, all this stuff. And there's never the aggressiveness with which how the Saints do it. And if they got a high-cost quarterback, like, look, Sheldon Rankins' option last year is a good example of this. Like, they just add a bunch of avoidable years to the end. It spreads out that $10 million over 3 years. Right. You keep $1 million base or whatever it is, and then you split it up into 3 years. So it'd be a $9 million signing bonus, $3 million, $3 million, $3 million. So the first year you're paying $3 million on it. Then when he leaves, it's going to count 6 because that accelerates the last 2 years. But for that year, it allows you to spread it out. So those are the things they do. They do these things. Kai Harley, like, I don't think people realize that, like, it never gets talked about, but he invented de-escalators in contracts. Like, there's performance incentives. He created de-incentives. Like, if you don't meet a mark, you lose money. Like, they do things nobody else does. And you read these things by people analyzing the situation, and they too find ways to get down under, but it's they aren't doing the aggressive, creative things to manage the cap like the Saints do. Yeah. So I don't pay a lot of mind to it. And look, those folks might end up being right, but is someone who's studied their cap for a lot of years and how they do things, I just kind of feel like if you aren't there's some telltale things, and if you aren't understanding them, like if you aren't looking at these roster bonuses that they have sitting there, which they put in place to stretch out. Right. And that's not part of your cap calculation.
You don't get it. Yeah,
you don't get it.
Yep. I mean, the Saints use the cap in a way that the NFL did not design it to be used. Like, when they came up with the salary cap, the Saints were like pushing that like to like the absolute limit of what's like allowable under the rules. Sometimes they even push it too far, i.e. Jadeveon Clowney trade, where they're like, nah, we're not gonna let you get away with that. So I just think that I'd hesitate based on recent history, and this is not based on anything but history. I'd hesitate to say like, oh, the Saints their cap is so bad that they can't do this, because I just don't know how that. Just the past says something different, right? The past just says like, man, these guys will figure it out, and they always do. And I don't know, one day maybe all the dead money will come and it'll be dead money and that's it. But I don't think it's going to be. And there's an article on the site about this, just kind of how Loomis was talking about how they were going to approach this offseason, and how they are in win mode. I can't see us not being in win mode. So
have I said this? I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, said it to you privately. I've said it somewhere, so I don't know. Stop me if I'm repeating myself, but I feel like when a team enters a rebuild, it's because they've signed a lot of players to bad contracts, and they have to shed themselves of those bad contracts to get players that are talented on good contracts. The Saints have a lot of good players on good contracts or market value contracts. So if you trade Marshawn Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk to avoid paying them, if you start cutting good players that are going to help you win games that are on reasonable contracts, what's the goal? Like you get what
are you getting at? Yeah, you just shitting because for the hell of it, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're just carrying down to the studs so that you can overpay free agents in 3 years. Like I don't.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't. What's the end game? Like where does that take you?
Yeah.
And look, the thing is too is like the other thing about like the cap conversation is a lot of people are like, look, they finally caught up to him, all the reckless spending. No, what caught up to him was a global pandemic that nobody saw coming.
Yeah,
and
that's
everything.
A horrible take. That's a horrible
if the cap would have kept going, everything keeps going as is. And yeah, there's a little bit of dead money, but they just find different ways to manage it. This isn't years of recklessness. It's the cap drops. Like that's it. And they can still get under. Like it's just there isn't going to be as much room. And it's not like, oh, here's the consequence. It's no, there's a pandemic and nobody was at games this year. Like
the money is not there.
Yeah. But look, these are people that have for like 6 years have been talking about their cap and how poorly managed it is, and this is their like aha moment. So they're gonna be like, "Oh, I was wrong for 6 years, but I told you." Like, no, you're still wrong.
Yeah,
like you were never right. You needed the freaking coronavirus to make you right. Like if Corona is the thing, if you're shorting something, like in you need a pandemic for the short to hit. Like your original analysis was really bad. Like you needed a completely unforeseen circumstance to make you right. That just means you were extremely wrong the whole time.
Yeah, they got to get those cap websites hits, man. You know, listen. When they write them Saints articles, bro, they get a lot of hits.
When people say anything about the Saints, they get a lot of hits.
Exactly, bro.
People make up like reports and things, and like you say, it retweeted 250 times because like it's the most engaged fan base in the NFL.
And they know we're coming. Yeah, they know we're coming. And like, and there's like gifs about like. There's like memes and gifs about like cap guys. That's how like much them in the same fan base.
It's not even comparable. There's not any fan base in the NFL that's just
nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Like,
oh, by the way,
some guy from like North Dakota tweets like it's something about the Saints. Like someone's gonna find it and you're gonna see it. Yeah.
He's getting it. By the way, you didn't tell me that take in private or nothing. So it must have been like one of your other podcast buddies or something.
I think I said it this morning on T-Bob's radio show.
Right, other podcast buddies. It wasn't me.
That's a radio buddy, man. That's not a podcast buddy.
I'm in my feelings, man. I'm about to play a Drake song, and it's really gonna mess our relationship up.
best radio guy in the game, man. He's the most educated person on the radio by far.
What about person you've spoken to today?
No, I mean you guys both work at it, man. No, I'm just saying I'm just shouting out my guy on the radio. T-Bob reads everything. He asks really good questions, and people
T-Bob is good. T-Bob is really good.
Listening to him. Yeah,
he's really good. Much love to T-Bob. He's really good. I'll be listening. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Like I wake up at 8:30 in the morning to talk to T-Bob. Like I won't get up that early for anybody.
All right, I'm feeling a certain way. Can we move on?
Hey, man, if we had to do this at 8:30, you know we'd be taping it. Yeah.
It was just.
Hey, I'm just spreading the brand, man. I'm just spreading the brand.
All right, man.
You got to market, you know?
All right, well, I stay up late to 10:30 at night to talk to you, man. My wife is in there waiting for me.
Oh, man.
Hey, man, listen. We get to have a little fun on it. You know, it's crazy. I was looking at this. You know what never hit me? And it just hit me as we were recording. Gosh, we need to finish this pod. But the Saints, the two players drafted between the Saints in 2017 was Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. That's kind of crazy. That's just, I don't know. I just went and pulled up the 2017 draft. I was like, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's right. Those guys went between the Saints. So anyway, I don't want to.
Let's end on this one. Last one. Teddy's a free agent. So basically, my question to you:
is Teddy a free agent?
Well, no, but He could be. He
Oh,
could be soon.
okay. No to the answer. No to the question.
The way they're treating them. Seems like they're done with them. Like,
Until they got that guaranteed money.
Yeah, they were the one who made the strongest play for Stafford, I guess. So, like,
yes,
yeah,
number 8. That's when I said the team offered the number 8 pick. That was Carolina. Like, they offered the number 8 pick plus some stuff. I think they were going to get Stafford, and the Lions was like, Goff, another first. What you want to do?
So Teddy, Taysom, or Jameis? What do you do?
I'd put it in order, just to take it a step further. Number 3, Teddy. Number 2, Taysom. Number 1, Jameis.
Ooh,
I don't think I can't slander Teddy. I would probably rather have Taysom over Teddy. I think I would. I think
in this offense, it's interesting. Like, I think I would. If I had to take one, because look, between any of the 3, I think in a year there's a possibility that you're dissatisfied and you're still in the market. Like, I don't know that there's a home run in any of those 3 where you get that guy and you're set forever. But I think Jameis has the best chance of being that player.
There's a chance for Jameis to be a home run. It's possible.
100%. I'm taking Jameis out of that group.
Right. Who's your number 2?
Yes,
who's your number 2? Hard question.
So yeah, out of the two, like, because if you're in Sean's offense, right? In Sean's offense, I think that I would go with Teddy, because I think you can mitigate the mistakes and rely on your defense. I think if everything goes right for Taysom and Taysom gets his feet going with his arm, if he got another shot and he becomes that prototype 2021 quarterback who can extend plays and do the Josh Allen type of things, I think, yeah, then Taysom, and then if Taysom were actually able to put that all together, the whole conversation surrounding him is a little bit different, because now he's able to do things when it's dirty. When it's clean, he looks really good. When things start falling apart, it doesn't. So if he found a way to manage that, it becomes a really interesting conversation. But I think right now, off of what we saw in the 4 games, I would just go back to Teddy, just because I think Teddy could manage a game and just not make mistakes. Okay. Man,
but see, Teddy,
like, he got away. He got away with a lot of plays that should have been turnovers.
You talking about Taysom?
Teddy during his stretches of Saints
starter. I was about to say, Teddy was a little scattershot accuracy at times.
Yeah, he got away with a lot of plays.
Clean pocket.
He got away with a lot of plays. He did.
Taysom, if he got a clean pocket, he wasn't missing Taysom clean pocket accurate. Like, Taysom made some good throws. Like, yeah, I think Taysom made some good throws, man. I mean, he got the ball to Mike.
It'd be an interesting battle.
Here's why I'll say Taysom. Right. So we agree on Jameis. Jameis, excuse me. The reason why I would say I would choose Taysom over Teddy, if I had to choose two, is because Teddy Bridgewater, guys, I don't want to say, we know what Teddy is, right? We know, we kind of can see Teddy's ceiling. It's right there in front of us. Taysom, there's still a little bit of unknown. I think there's a chance that he reads the defense faster. I think there's a chance that he learns to run quicker when things break down. 1 read, 2 read, 3 read, I'm scrambling. I think there's a chance he gets better at protecting the ball. There's these things that are in Taysom's games that I can see being fixed that can make him a better quarterback. Huh?
When's he fix it?
Listen, I say I think it's a chance. You're absolutely right.
I think theoretical Taysom is why there were so much hype behind him. And I think it's easy to see, if you're in practice and everything's good, everything's clean, he's sitting in the pocket, he's hitting his throws. When he came out and he was pocket passing that first game, I was it was
whoa.
What is happening? Holy crap, this guy can pocket pass.
Yeah.
And I think if you're seeing that in practice and you're not hitting and there's really not the threat of everything, and things aren't really breaking down the way they are in a game, theoretical Taysom, you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, he's pocket passing and he can do all this stuff with his legs. And when he gets into a game, he's going to be amazing. There's really something, but then I don't think it hit the way it should have.
So is his first name theoretical and his last name Taysom? We're gonna start calling him that theoretical Taysom.
The theoretical idea of Taysom is Josh Allen, right? I mean, it really is. I think that's kind of what you're looking for. Is like someone that's not going to do everything perfect, but he can get out, extend plays, big arm, hard to tackle, can run, can do some different things.
Significantly less talented. Significantly less talented, Josh Allen.
Yeah, but maybe Taysom wouldn't get sacked for a loss of 22 every time he gets sacked either. So
I'd take that 22 sack guy right now on the team and cruise for years.
So what happened is unbelievable. Like he's like so determined to keep the play going that like I think that's the next like dude, just go
competitor.
Take the loss of 5, man.
Give me that competitor.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, that man can throw the ball from me to you. Like right now, flat-footed.
He throws it so hard, it's going right through the webcam too.
Exactly. That's way
He's got
funny,
fiber.
Dude.
He's got fiber.
literally. Listen, man. Here's what I'll say. I think with Teddy, there's only so far you can get. And you know exactly what that is. There's no deep playoff run with Teddy. I don't think it's in play. I don't think he can. I just don't think that's a guy who can get you there. Taysom, I think there is a chance that he recognizes pressure quicker, runs when he needs to a little bit faster. I think those are coachable things. I think with reps, like every quarterback starts reading defenses slow. Like that's a thing that every quarterback goes through. Every good one. Mahomes say he didn't understand NFL defenses until I think it was this year, right? And this is his fourth year. I forget the kid. Yeah, third year starting. Man, his second Super Bowl already. That's wild. Could have been a Saint, but yeah, I mean, so guys are going to be slow when they first start reading defense. Taysom is 30. Right. But I could see that getting better. And with that getting better, I could see him knowing when to run quicker, when to tuck it quicker, when to take a sack quicker. We already know he's accurate. So it's these things in Taysom that I see. Like if they choose Taysom to start over Jameis, I would understand it. Right. But like Teddy, I just don't see any of the things that he can bring that would like get you there. Right. That's my reasoning. But
all right. So next question. Theoretical Taysom hits. Him or Jameis?
Oh, man, that is a really good question. That's a good question. What does Jameis have that theoretical Taysom doesn't? Jameis has a bigger arm. Taysom is more mobile. I don't know. That's a good question.
What does anybody in the NFL have that theoretical Taysom doesn't? Because theoretical Taysom is the best running back in the NFL. He's the best quarterback in the NFL.
No. Let's take this guy back a little. He's not a creative player.
He's Mike Allstott, just throwing the ball from the pocket.
Theoretical Taysom. Here's what I view as theoretical Taysom. All right. Taysom has a good arm, not a great arm. Right. He has a good enough arm. He has an NFL arm. He's pretty accurate. I don't think he'll ever be a really quick like guy reading defenses. I think he can just get better, but I don't think he'll ever approach like Drew, for instance, right? But I don't think he's going to be Mitchell Trubisky neither, right? So slightly better defense reader, and then it's just a guy who uses his legs. So theoretical Taysom is probably a top 13 quarterback.
Theoretical Taysom to me is like a mixture of Tecmo Bowl, Bo Jackson, and 04 Madden Vic. Like you just
come on, man.
That's theoretical Taysom, man.
You no throwing quarterback. You just mentioned a running back and a running back.
I don't think you should underestimate how unstoppable 04 Vic was, man.
Oh, bro, listen, I wouldn't. No one when we played Madden, no one get to play with the Falcons, bro. Because like if you had Vic, well, it was nothing you could do. Like it was. Yeah, it was like you're cheating.
But that's kind of like what theoretical Taysom. Like if Taysom can figure out how to run, and like.
But Taysom is not like shifty though. He's like straight line fast, right? He's not like Lamar, where he's just gonna make you look stupid. I
want the pocket passer who's just gonna just bowl over people when things are bad. Like I think that's better than. I think Taysom's pocket passing.
It's better than Lamar.
That with the ability to and he gets that sense of when to run or when to get out of the pocket. The main thing with that is he's got to learn how to throw off an uneven base, which
he's bad at that.
I don't understand. That was the most.
He's bad at that, bro.
That was the most confusing thing of the season to me.
Here's the thing: I would rather have Lamar's running ability than Taysom's. I would, because Taysom, like Lamar, doesn't take hits. Like he gets down, he makes you look stupid, then slides. Taysom thinks he's a running back. Like and then he doesn't know how to stop fumbling. So I would take Lamar. Lamar holds on to the ball and he doesn't take big hits. Like Taysom takes big hits and he doesn't hold on to the ball.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. It's just the perfect version of Taysom though. Like he's making some reads, he's hitting some passes. He can throw you back theoretically.
Yeah. I mean, if the O-line is blocking and the defense
he's confident enough to do it too. Like we saw the confidence.
I think naive may be a better word.
Look, either way,
he doesn't even he came out being a pocket passer. He was like, "Look, I'm gonna be in this pocket, and I'm not leaving."
If you don't know to be scared, that's even better. Like, I know. You've never learned to be scared, so that's even better. Let him out. Like that's fine. If it manifests the same way as confidence, whatever it is, that's fine. But like, I think he could throw.
I think you need a healthy fear of some pass rushers, and Taysom does not have that. Like,
look, I want to see Taysom. Like, I want someone to go and give him like a 5-year. We're gonna commit to Taysom for 5 years. I don't care if it's here or somewhere else. I want to see someone just fully commit to him and give him the chance to figure everything out. And like, if he can do it, I want to see like what that looks like in the end. I just hope we get a chance to see like what he could become fully formed. I hope he gets a chance to be a starter somewhere.
I mean, if someone wants to sign him until he's 40, then I guess that's okay. But I mean, maybe he's the starter here next year. I mean, I feel like I feel like we're just saying that it's Jameis or someone else. Where I think Taysom, I think he could be the guy. I don't know if I would. Here's the thing, right?
He's probably more in the mix than we've put.
I think that's true, and here's why I say that. And I think it's a little. I don't know. It's like the unknown is exciting versus like what you know is just there. Like Jameis is like this unknown, right? Like it's just guy that Sean Payton got. Is this #1 pick, ridiculous talent, smart, loves football, big arm, sneaky, athletic. Right? Can he? I've like Jameis is like not a pocket statue, right? Which a lot of people think of him as. It's just fun to think about him in Sean Payton's offense. It's fun. It's fun. And Taysom was fun until we saw him, and now it's like all about the Nubu.
Yeah. See, I think if they keep the team together, they can win 10 games and they'll go to the playoffs and probably lose the first game with Taysom as their quarterback. I think that's probably, if some things go right, maybe you go further, but I think
that's how I think
I think that's kind of the ceiling on Taysom. So you see that and it's like, well, the defense is good enough. They'll keep them in 10 games. They'll be able to manage it, whatever. So I think that's kind of probably why the conversation veers to somewhere else, because you want to find somebody with a higher ceiling than that. I think we kind of probably know what Taysom is. Again, now it could be what you said. He comes out and he puts something clicks and everything goes together for him.
Mm-hmm.
And now, he's much better than you thought.
Right.
And that's exciting. That's an exciting idea. But like, I think what we saw in the 4 games is it just leads me to look, what else is there? Like, can they do better than this? What else is there? But
right.
Yeah, I think he's probably more in the mix than we've placed him. I think if the bottom falls out on everything, all it takes is for the Colts, the Bears, somebody else to say, hey, we want James. I don't know what would lead someone to value him significantly more than he was last year. But if you sprinkle a little bit of that Peyton dust on him, like maybe that leads somebody to come and make that kind of offer and he's out of here. So
wait a minute, we got theoretical Taysom and we got Peyton dust.
Well, I mean, look, Teddy got the contract. Someone might look at that. They might look at look at what Taysom Hill became from BYU, because you look at the BYU tape to now, like there's significant growth.
Yeah,
it might not be enough, but there's significant growth. So now someone might hype themselves into the idea of like, wow, what did he do with this guy that like has all these gifts? Like, is he a lot better?
Yeah,
let's take a gamble on him, and they come and get him. Now the Saints know what to bid. They have a better understanding of his value than anybody else, but if someone decides, Jameis is their guy, all it takes is one, and he's gone, then you're probably back looking at Taysom. You probably bring in
Yeah.
I don't know, Jacoby Brissett and have a competition and off you go.
Yeah, no,
So,
I think and Trevor Siemian. It's gonna be dark days, man. I think you make a good. I think that's a good point. I think that's a good point. It's tricky because all it takes is one team. Like if the Peyton dust, let's just run with that. Like if Indianapolis, for instance, feel like, hey, man, Teddy improved and Taysom somehow became something different than what we saw when he was in college. If you're Jameis Winston and you get an offer from Indianapolis Colts, that's a Colts, or if I'm a quarterback, I would say the Colts are one of the teams I would go play for. I'll just be honest with you. You got a really good offensive minded coach there, a pretty decent defense, a pretty good O-line, and some weapons and some young guys. So, you sprinkle that magic Peyton dust on them, and I get it. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Just to the theoretical Taysom versus Jameis. What I don't think you ever like made your decision. Like, let's lock you in. Who would you choose?
man, like fully.
Right? Should we define theoretical Taysom before you answer?
Like is theoretical Taysom so proven that he's no longer a theory in this conversation?
No, that's why theoretical is in his name. Well, no, theoretical is like no. Okay. So let's define him. The accuracy is the same, which is good, right? The arm is the same, which is good. He is slightly better at reading defenses, right? Which he uses his running ability more, and he fixes the fumble problems. That's theoretical Taysom.
And what version of Jameis?
All right, theoretical Jameis.
It's a theoretical quarterback competition, man. Like it really is. We're like comparing
two people we know. Yeah,
it's hypothesis looks the best.
Yeah. It's like blind dates. Pick the girl.
So theoretical Jameis would be what? Like a guy that throws for 4,500, 63%.
Let's say 15, this theoretical Jameis
interceptions.
Let's simplify it. The same guy he was without the interceptions.
I mean, I don't think that's fair because we're offering improvement to one guy and just erasing bad from another.
Getting rid of 30 interceptions is a pretty big improvement. That's as big. Well, how about this? The same guy he was without the turnovers.
I still think that like part of his problem though in Tampa Bay is that it was still like too much looking for a big play and not playing it safe enough in all season. I think Arians kind of amplified that. Like that was the thing with him and Cutter was Cutter was trying to get him to dial in a little bit and he was still pushing it and taking some risks that they weren't necessarily.
But let's operate.
I think Arians amplified that. So I think in Sean's offense, like Jameis would. He talked about it.
Go ahead.
He talked about it in the Vic interview about how he wanted to, not everything has to be done in one play, and I think that's a huge thing for him. I think that's probably the biggest issue for him throughout his career is that there was just not enough check down, play it safe. So he does that. Oh my God, theoretical Kevin Turner. So theoretical Jameis, I think is a guy that knows how to play it safe, and he isn't pushing it so much. So yeah, there's less interceptions. There's a willingness to be some check downs. He can manage the offense. There's less interceptions. I think the you throw the Peyton dust on both players. I think Jameis comes out better. Jameis comes out better. If Jameis takes to the coaching the way Taysom has, Jameis is coming out better.
So that's what I was trying to say. So like, let's just assume that is built into being in Sean's offense. Like sometimes taking was there, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just assume that that's part of what Jameis is going to become, and it's not going to always be looking for the big play. Let's assume that he'll like take to the coaching a little bit.
And I think Taysom's biggest problem is that he maybe took that too literally.
He's too easy to coach.
You know what I mean? I think it was like far too like I think they told him like don't make mistakes, protect the ball, check down if it's not there. And I think he became like it was too rigid within all of it. Let's get one more person to sign up. One more person to sign up to the site before this thing's over. We got 3 signups. That's the start. Let's get one more.
So you're going with theoretical Jameis over theoretical Taysom.
Yeah, I think the Peyton sprinkles his magic on him. I think Jameis would be the one. But again, I think Taysom's greatest asset is his willingness to be coached, his ability to be coached. I think that's probably the best thing about him as a player. And I think that probably shows up in all aspects. That's why he's able to do so much. He's just, and I'm not saying Jameis isn't coachable. Like Jameis might be extremely coachable. I've talked to his coach, his private coach, and one of the things he talks about, his work ethic, his coachability, all that stuff. So I think it's there with him. It's just we've seen it demonstrated through Taysom in a multifaceted way that it's a very obvious number one trait for him, and you just can't compare it to Jameis. But I'm sure Jameis is taking the. He came here to get that coaching.
Yeah,
and
that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd go. I think it's hard not to go theoretical Jameis. I mean, he's the number one pick, right? I mean, he's dripping in talent. I mean, I don't think that's the concern. I think it's like him. Like, do you have like, what do you think of Jameis's accuracy?
Yeah, I think it's solid until it isn't.
Yeah, I think it's something that I want to see more consistently. Go ahead.
I think just playing in this offense, who he is, I think that he completes 70% of his passes. You're throwing the passes to Mike. You got Alvin coming out of the backfield. I think it just inflates it so much. Like, Breeze's accuracy probably wasn't 70% if he's throwing the same passes he was throwing in 2013, 2012. I don't think he's hitting 70% of those with the arm he had in 2019. But because of the way the offense was, like it elevates it a little bit. So, I think if Jameis or Taysom takes over next year, it's going to open back up. It's not going to be as condensed, but start spreading out a little bit more. But I think there are these elements of things that they do extremely well, and they found out they do extremely well with Breeze that are still going to be there and become bigger staples of the offense than they were before. So I think between the blend of I think the 2015 version of the offense, they were setting up shot plays to Brandon Cook. I think you'll have that stuff along with, some of the condensed offense because you want the ball in Alvin's hands a lot. You can Mike winning on a slant or a curl is automatic. And until somebody stops it, you run that. Yeah, you run that as much as you can. So I think with those things paired with some of the stuff down the field, maybe not 70, but I think he's probably a 67, 68% passer in this offense.
I think that's possible. I think that's possible. I think it's possible. I want to see him be consistently accurate from the pocket. That's something that.
Shout out to Elijah. Just signed up. We got that one. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Hey man, thank you.
For real, thank you though. Like the appreciation in my heart every time somebody signs up. I can't tell you. Like, yeah.
I'll tell them the story about the time you was crying one day.
Man, that first day I cried like a baby. We're coming up on the 1 year too, man. I cried like a baby that first day, man.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You telling yourself, sitting on wax.
Hey, the embracement, like it was extremely. It was one of the more moving moments of my life, man. I
remember that, man. I was about to
graces, yeah.
I was about to get Josh Allen to throw you some tissue. All right, man. Well, look, guys. Who else is dropping 1 hour plus pods in the off season? Like we gonna keep this thing rolling, man. We're gonna keep this thing rolling. It's the off season, so these pods, we go off on these little tangents and have a little fun, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Here's one way we'll know you guys don't like it: if everyone starts leaving chat. So, but yeah, definitely. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for showing up in this live chat thing. This thing is like, I'm telling you, I keep saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it because it's like true. Like just being able to look in chat and kind of get like a feel for some of the live things that you guys are saying and some of the ideas you have. It's like it's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing, man. I love it. It adds a whole like new experience to podcasting. Which
shout out to Rod, just bought the Elite. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you. But yeah, it makes it so much fun, man. And just to, like when Nick pops up something on the screen and I'm talking, it's like the best distraction. It's the best distraction ever, man. So we're just here having fun. We're gonna try to make this thing fun and not make it just like all like business Saints talk, man. Because you guys, it's an experience, man. So we appreciate it. So if anybody else want to sign up, then do that. Take some phone calls.
I mean, at some point, probably like this is the reason we're always telling people to sign up and subscribe. Like we get more equipment, we can add stuff to it.
Yeah, man.
So
I mean,
the more stuff we can do, yeah. I mean, look, the investment, like, yeah, we got better cameras, better microphones. We're putting the money back into the product. So you guys support it. The more we do, and we'll get a lot of different stuff.
I'm getting like all the smoke this week, man. Like first I was like, I gotta fix my background, man. You sent me the
look, you are broadcasting from like a cubicle.
Hey man, I'm a software engineer. That's where I work all day, every day. That's a stand-up desk, man.
Like get a window back there, man. Something.
I got a window, man. There it is. Like, come on, man. Listen, I'm a software engineer. All I do is sit down all day.
Dude, he's got a math problem over his head.
Look, let me tell you how much I got. Let me tell you how much love I got.
Guy lifts weights because he's angry. Like he's in his cell in there, just like popping up.
Man, listen, we're about to end this time. This is not about me. Oh man, that is hilarious, dude. That is hilarious.
Oh man.
Listen, one day I'm gonna put that background up and I'm gonna shut you down. I'm gonna just hire someone to hold it up. This is like it's gonna be like the shortest. So guys, Nick sent me this backdrop, right? Guys, if you guys are like bored, you can leave. Like straight up wilding right now. Nick sent me this backdrop. And it came in the mail. It was folded like the size. It's like 10 by 10 feet big, and it was folded to the size of a Starburst. So I'm thinking, how the hell am I supposed to use this, man? So it's been folded. It was folded so bad. Like I sat it. I took my whole in the middle of my house. My wife was like, "You got to get this up." It was just on the floor. I said, "Babe, I just needed to get the wrinkles out." So I put it back in the closet and folded it back like a Starburst, man. And they said,
I really did fold that thing up like I was trying to save on postage.
I don't know how you folded it up. Like
I had to get it into the medium flat rate box.
And let me tell y'all something else about Nick. Yo, Nick is the like most ghetto. If Nick sends you something in the mail, it's coming wrapped in like styrofoam, like clear tape, masking tape, black tape. It's the most ghetto. So whenever I get a package that look like it's like anthrax or something, I'm like, nah, baby, it's just Nick.
I'll jam some socks in there to make sure it don't move around.
He got like just like old dog fur. I'm like, bro, what the hell are you sending me, man?
Hey, yo, they're gonna get me on packing materials, man.
Bro, you need to start buying the packaging at the store, bro, because like you got to quit using your home materials. Oh man,
rolled up T-shirt. But I saw you that computer back. Oh my god,
bro,
I'm just stuff in the box.
I was gonna send it back to you, like, nah, bro, I can't even get to it. Oh my gosh, man. Listen, guys.
Got you embarrassed to embarrass your postman. Yo,
like,
what's up, man?
They know you now. They're like, oh, you got a podcast. You got something from that Nick guy again. Listen, guys, if you get a package from Nick,
yo, Kev, it's good. We scanned it.
Right. It's like got to go through customs like in the United States.
Oh man!
Listen, bro, if you get a package from Nick, open it outside because you're gonna have like stuff all over your floor. You're gonna have to vacuum. Like I'm serious. When Nick starts selling T-shirts, pray that a third party is doing the shipping. That's all I got. Man. Y'all T-shirts coming in Ziploc bags, man.
Hey, shout out to Jesse and. Yeah, Jesse. Shout out to Jesse. Appreciate you, man. Signing up, upgrading.
Oh man,
appreciate the love.
Oh man, I'm like sweating, laughing, man.
All right, we gotta get out of here.
We gotta get out of here. Oh man. Hey y'all, thank y'all for sticking around and watching us be silly, man. We appreciate it. This basically like how we are when we're like all five, man. It's like all fun. So thank you guys to the guys that signed up. We appreciate you guys signing up. We joke about it and we have fun in it, but it allows us to do this. I mean, no, that's just the fact of the matter. So we appreciate that. Go to the site, NewOrleans.Football /subscribe. I think there were 6 articles that went up since the last time we pod. So you know what the energy is. Make sure you guys support. Make sure you guys go to YouTube and search Nick Underhill and subscribe and like the videos because that YouTube stuff helps us, man. So even if you're not subscribed, just liking the videos and subscribing to the YouTube page, that's a help. So and that costs you nothing in a little bit of time. So with that said, man, you guys stay safe. Thank you guys for getting through this with us. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next week. We out.